and we're talking it through with Jennifer today. And today our guest is Aja Vancica. She is the owner and strategist of the OCD Strategy. It's a company that works on decluttering people where they are. Can be found on Facebook under the OCD Strategy, and we are very excited to have her here today. She's our first female guest. I'm so excited to finally have a woman to talk with about something other than my lack of dating. So Aja, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really, really do appreciate this opportunity. So, of course, thank you all for watching and for being here. My name is Aja Vancica of the OCDstrategy.com. I am a decluttering and intentional living strategist, and what that does, if you don't know, is I help people to declutter their homes and create an intentional life. Usually, what people don't understand is that decluttering is more than just the physical acts. So I help them to really look at what the reasons for the declutter, the reasons why they have the situations right now, and to work past what the situations are so they can get into the actual physical part of the decluttering.
Okay, so what kinds of issues do you see most commonly?
Most commonly, I see that people are really living in the past, and the reasons that they have all of the clutter is because they're still making the choices based off of what was and not where they are now. You know, what as adults, what we needed back when we were 20 and 30 is so much different than what we're needing now in our 40s and our 50s. So if we're looking at what we're needing right now, then we start from there, and we base your goals not based off of what traditional goal setting is. That's just mainstream, and it's really not to say anything about the men, but for women, it is not where we want to be because we are feelings-based individuals. So, as feelings-based individuals, that's what we're basing our goals on, is feelings-based. So then we go in and we look at how do you want to feel in those spaces, and then that becomes what your goal is to create for yourself and your family.
So what you help people do is create a space that makes, when you walk in the room, it makes you feel a particular way.
Exactly. And what I like to say is we're all looking for freedom. But what the idea of freedom is different for everybody. So you have to figure that out and describe that for yourself, despite whatever it says in the thesaurus or the online dictionaries. You have to give that meaning for yourself as to what it is. For instance, I wanted to feel cozy. I wanted everything to be easy and simplistic in my life. And so when I decluttered my home, that's exactly what I did. I don't have things in my home that's going to take me a lot of time to clean, and I don't even have curtains up in my living room. So because of that, it's just something that I decided this is how I want to live. I want things to be free form for myself, and that's what I help people to do, is to figure out how they want to feel. That's the most important thing, and the thoughts that go along with those feelings so that they can start taking action.
So everybody's room is going to be somewhat different because people want to feel differently. For example, in this space, this is Aja's space. In this particular space, she doesn't have curtains up. It's very cozy, but in your bedroom, it invokes a different feeling.
Exactly. Totally different. What I tell people is let's go for what your version of better is. Because we're all different, what my version of better is going to be a lot different than yours or hers or his or anybody else's. So we have to figure out what your comfort level is, what your version of better is. And for example, like in my bedroom, I don't have a TV. I used to have a TV, but now at the point that I'm at in my life, that's just not something that I desire. Now that doesn't mean that's not going to change in a couple of years. But what I want to feel in my bedroom is I want to feel luxurious. I want everything to feel clean. I want everything to be just like almost like hotelish kind of clean, but without the maid. You know, so because I am the maid, then I have to make things very, very easy for myself, but I still want to feel like I'm Olivia Pope walking into her apartment, you know, Olivia Pope from Scandal. I want to feel just like luxurious and confident and everything. So I do have curtains up in there because that's what I feel like in there. They're white, they're very sheer and light, very airy, because I still want to have that freedom. The energy of freedom is what I call it, but I still want it to feel very, very luxurious. So I don't have a TV in there because that's not what that means to me. That's not what luxurious means to me. Remember, we always have to go back to how do you want to feel and the definition of that. So for me, luxurious does not feel good having a TV in my bedroom.
Mm-hmm. Whereas for me, luxurious feels very good having a 50-inch TV in the bedroom. We all are different.
Yes, we are.
So how did you get to the point where you decided to start this company?
Oh my goodness, Jennifer. Many moons ago, I used to work for a cleaning company. And in this cleaning company, I would go into these people's homes and they had a little bit of money, okay? But what they didn't have was a bunch of clutter. They had good quality furniture, good quality pieces, but they didn't have stuff everywhere. It got to the point, Jennifer, where I actually liked going to clean people's toilets more than I liked actually being at my own house. And so that was an eye-opener for me. It's like, I really would rather be at someone else's home than my own. Why can't I create that for myself? Because it was so amazing being in these people's homes.
So they didn't have collectibles and pictures of the kids and knickknacks. Were they single?
No, they had families, they had children with toys all over the place, they had pictures, they had all of the stuff, but you know, they didn't have a lot of it. It was, instead of having 10 pictures, they had 3. Instead of having 15 blankets, they had 2. Instead of having the tables full of different knickknacks, they had maybe 1 or 2. It was just easy for me to clean. It was breathable. It was free. It was so free.
So when they go on vacations, they don't bring back a snow globe from every location?
Probably not, because what decluttering actually does is it just changes your whole trajectory and perspective of how you want to live. So I love it because when you think about your life, it is a symbiotic circle. You have your relationships, you have your finances, your career, you have your health and your wealth. Everything touches the other. So when you start to get things together in one area of your life, it's going to affect everything else, just like it's doing now. In the opposite, if you've got something bad going on in your relationship, it's going to show up in your finances. If you've got something bad going on in your finances, it's going to show up in your home. Everything is touching each other. So once you start to actually get things together in one area of your life, and of course I focus on the home because it's the foundation of everything that's going on in your life, then it's going to start to snow globe and actually, or snowball I should say, and touch every area of your life. And you just automatically start to want to get your health together. You automatically want to start getting your finances together. So when you're out there spending money, you have a different perspective on what you're spending your money on.
So you're less likely to spend money on the additional snow globe because you were thinking about where is that going to go.
Exactly. Or what am I going to have to get rid of in order to have this come into the home? And that's just something that you just tend to kind of work into your life.
Okay, so what are some really good strategies tips that you want to give out to people who may be interested in this and need hey, how do I even get started before they even talk to you? What would you suggest?
What I would suggest is taking it very slow. I always say, baby step your way to better. We always want to get in there and go gung-ho and just do everything. But what that does is create so much overwhelm on top of you already not knowing what to do and where to get started. So what I would say to you guys is to first take a look at your feelings. That's something that we don't always do. We're not taught that in this society, especially us being the age that we are, Black women. We're not taught to really check in with our feelings. So even becoming aware of that is going to be a little bit of a hard thing.
So really and truly, this is about self-care and taking care of yourself first so you can take care of everything and everyone else in your life.
It really is. It really is. Because again, your home is your foundation for everything that you do. Your finances, your relationships, everything starts here. And your home is meant to support you in achieving your goals. And what are your goals? To feel the way that you want to feel. So if we can allow the house, the home, the spaces to actually help us achieve our goals, then it's going to actually just be so much better in all the areas of our lives.
Now, do you have some success stories you want to share?
I have some amazing success stories I want to share. So I do a lot of online. Most of my clients are online now. I don't actually go into people's homes anymore to physically declutter. It's all online based. So what happened is, in one particular, because when you really think about decluttering, everybody thinks about the physical actions, like I said. And this particular client, she didn't really want to work with me in the mindset area, and she kept on giving me some pushback and pushback and pushback. And I said, okay, you want to just go dive in, go ahead and dive in. Because when you get to that point when people are just like pushing back, I don't want to do the mindset piece, then you have to meet them where they are and let them do what they're going to do, because eventually they're going to have to come back to it anyway. So I told her, if you go ahead and work on the mindset piece, and it'll be easier when you actually start decluttering. And she didn't want to do that.
You know what you're trying.
Because you know exactly. So she gets in there and she just starts to, well, I'm just going to do my closet. I'm just going to do it. That was what the project was that we decided she was going to be working on, and I'm just going to do it, she said. And then a few days later, she emailed me and said, oh, okay, I'm really thinking about how I'm feeling and how overwhelming this is. And she actually decided that, wow, the whole mindset piece of it, the whole feelings part, because what I really try to impose and just really make this a basis and a structure for everything is that your thoughts, they drive your feelings, and your feelings drive your actions. Mm-hmm. So if you can get in touch with your feelings and see what kind of thoughts those are that are driving those feelings, then you can actually get a handle on it and then start to declutter from there. So she backtracked, but I don't ever think that there's any kind of errors or anything. That's what decluttering is about. You're going to have to go through a lot of trial and errors. That's just the physical part of it. You're going to have to. What's not working, I have a basket with my mail that comes in. It wasn't always there. I had to figure out where I wanted to keep it so that it was going to be the best place for me and my family. And so she realized that in really thinking about when she started to get in there and realize, oh my gosh, I really don't know what to do, and I really am having a hard time with making this space how I want it to be, because she hadn't really sat down and thought about that.
So what are the things, or how do you kind of get into that mindset? What should you be thinking about?
Well, the first thing I do is tell people to just spend some time becoming aware of your feelings. Again, we're not aware of it. And when you're having a thought about, I feel overwhelmed, then ask yourself, what thoughts am I having that are making me feel overwhelmed? And do I want to continue to feel this way? Do I want to continue to think this way? And if the answer is no, then you can ask yourself, well, how do I want to feel? And what thoughts do I need to have in order to feel the way that I want to feel? And once you are okay with that, and you have been practicing and you become aware of that, then you can actually start going into your spaces and start to declutter. I always teach everybody to declutter left to right and from top to bottom. Every little corner, you're just going from top to bottom, left to right.
Isn't that also the way you're supposed to clean in general?
That is exactly what I learned as a cleaner and going into people's homes, having doing the cleaning and the organizing for them. Then it's a magnificent strategy, and I've stayed with it even when I worked for the company, and then I also had my own company, and I have never left that. It's a beautiful practice.
So you start at the left top and you go down, and that's how you go through a room.
That's how you go through a room, little bit by little bit, and never ever putting too much pressure on yourself, and always remembering to be compassionate, because this just didn't happen overnight, and our thought process didn't happen overnight. We've been thinking this way for years.
That's true.
So yeah.
And one of the best things that I heard about during my decluttering, and I'm always decluttering because, well, for a variety of reasons. But one of the things that a friend of mine said when my husband died, she came over to help me start getting my life and things organized. She would say, does this have meaning to you?
Mm-hmm.
And again, getting at that idea of, what feeling does this evoke?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a ticket stub, for example, can mean quite a bit to you because it reminds you of a particular date or particular moment, or the hospital tag from your baby's birth, or whatever that you might have kept. Those things evoke a feeling, and that's a reason why you would keep it. Getting back to, of course, that whole notion of what does this mean to you, and getting into that notion of meaning. So you start at the top to the left, and you go down, and you're going from left to right, top to bottom.
Exactly.
And then as you go through, before you can get to that point, though, you're going to sit down and think about what you want the room to feel like.
Exactly. And I actually don't teach my clients to get into the feeling, the meaning, because they've been going through that the whole time. That's why all the stuff is there, because everything's significant. Everything feels good to them. So they want to keep everything. So that's why I talk about people living in the past, and is it serving you for the life that you want to create now? That's what I try to help them to see.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's like, that was then. That's great for then. Awesome, wonderful. But what is it that you're wanting to create now? Because again, what we needed at the ages of 20 and 30, probably not the same things that we're wanting at 40 and 50. So because of that, what kind of feelings do you want to feel now? Let's work on them now. We can't change the circumstances from the past. We can change how you think about the circumstances for the past, because that's what's showing up in your today. So today is the day that we're working on. So what do you want to create now? That's what we're going for.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So, other than working on those strategies, is there anything else that I should be doing as I declutter my office, for example?
I love that question. I love offices. I move my office every 5 minutes, and you talk about decluttering. As a declutterer, you will always declutter. Decluttering is not a one and done. It's just like brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth every day. There's always going to be something to declutter. As a matter of fact, I have a kickstart that I'm doing in my Facebook group this week, and I'm going to be decluttering my bedroom and my closet along with the group, because it's always something that's going to be done. When you think about the feelings that you want to have, sometimes those change, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about as far as your office. Our needs are changing. They just change. So you have to really think about what is it that you're wanting, and be okay with the fact that things can change. And if you're needing your office to change, then just be okay with that you're needing your office to change, and what kind of feeling you want to have in your office, and really sit with that for a while. A lot of times we don't want to feel the feelings, but in order to build the confidence for yourself, you need to feel all the feelings. You need to be okay with feeling all the feelings, the good and the bad. But we a lot of times know what the bad feels like, but we are so busy trying to push it away that we don't actually really think about what the feeling really is meaning to us, and how it's affecting our lives, to even be able to retrain our brain to have a different thought so that we can have a different feeling. So you're going to be redoing your office. I'm so excited about that. I love offices. Just love them. Just love them. Then think about that. What is it that how do you want to feel in your office? And what are the needs are? What are the needs now that you may have something different going on in your office that you didn't have before? Then be okay with the fact that those things are going to have to go to help you to create the new that you want for your office.
So one of the reasons why I've been filming on location a little bit is to get an idea of what I want my set to look like
I love that.
in my office, and how do I look sitting on a couch as opposed to chairs, as opposed to around the table, making some of those kinds of adjustments. So that's the reason, so that I can determine in my office where my studio space is going to be. I know I want my desk space to be where it is. I love my desk space. I really do. I'm happy with it where it is. But it's not that, then it makes me have to think about where I'm going to put other things.
Exactly.
Because this is still not my full time. This is my side hustle.
Right.
My
And this is
full
my
time.
side hustle too.
And my full time is still practicing law. So I've got to determine how I can make the two things work together. And then what do I want the space to feel like when I get there is also another big question, because I don't know.
Exactly.
We
don't. And it's a very, very normal thing to not know how you want to feel. That's just not a question that we are taught to even connect with ourselves. So we don't even know. We don't even know how to even begin. So what I would tell you to do is to grab your pen and paper and write down as many words as you can think of that would describe how you want to feel. Feeling space words. And then you're going to narrow it down. If you come up with 40, you're going to narrow it down to 20. If you come up with 20, you're going to narrow it down to 10. And then if you look through those words, even at the 20 level, then you can see that a lot of those words kind of mean the same.
So they can find the synonyms.
Exactly, right. So you can scratch off whichever one you don't want to keep, or which one you resonate with the most. So when you get down to 10, then this is the hard part, because it's like, I want to feel them all. I want to feel all the feelings. But you got to pick. You got to narrow it down to 5. And then what I want you to do is I want you to picture in your mind, feel all the feelings, and think that you're in a boat. You're in a boat in the middle of the ocean. So, but you're sinking. You got to get rid of 4 of those words. What 4 words are you going to toss over the side so that you can stay afloat? What is that one word that you're going to have that you just can't part with? You can't part with that word. That is the word that you're going to work with. And after you get that word, I really want you to really feel it. just one of the things that I go through with my clients is what I call the lottery ticket. If I say, hey Jan, you know what, you just won the lottery, what kind of feelings do that evoke in you? You think about what all you can do with the money. Oh my gosh, I'm going to pay off Aja's bills, right? I'm going to buy her a house. I'm going to take her on vacation. I'm going to do so many different things for my parents, my kids, my friends, everything. You just think about all the things that you're going to do, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's exciting. But you haven't won the lottery. It's the thoughts that created that excitement. So you can do the same thing with the word that you choose. What kind of thoughts can make you feel good? And when you work from a place from that, when I say work, that's the physical getting in there to declutter. When you work from that place, it's so much easier. It is so much easier to let go.
I see it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I see it.
Yes.
I see it. Wow. Those are great things to think about for me because I have two kind of competing interests, and those interests are not, there's no overlap.
Right.
The law is confrontational, and this is fun. And there's conflict and fun in my life. That's how I view the two areas.
Right.
So figuring out what I can do to create a space that allows me to win in conflict, and then also to create a space that allows me to have fun is going to be a challenge.
It is, but a lot of times when people are having a hard time letting go, I tell them not to get rid of it. Get yourself some bins, some bags, all kinds of stuff. And so if you are having a really hard time letting go, get yourself those items. If you have a place to store those things, then just put everything in the bins and put them away. I promise you that if you wait 30 days, 60 days, and you've never gone in those bins, you don't need any of this stuff in there. Mm-hmm. But it's just the comfort of knowing that, they're away. So try, if you're having a really, really hard time, then you may have a cluttered garage, or you may have a junk room, and a lot of professionals will tell you not to have a junk room. I'm a proponent of junk rooms. I love junk rooms because they're very helpful, but eventually you're going to have to get in there and get rid of that stuff. But baby step your way to better, one step at a time.
So Aja, we've been talking about my office space, but what about my home? I really, as everybody knows, I would like to have a relationship, and I guess the bedroom is a good place to start for having a space that would be inviting for someone to enter for whatever purpose. John, that would just be a friend coming to hang out for just a short period of time. So what kind of things should I be thinking about to open up that space and that intimate part of my life to more, or actually anything?
I understand. That's a very, very common question, and the bedroom is right after the kitchen, the bedroom is the number 2 spot.
Really? The kitchen is the number 1 spot?
Kitchen's the number 1 spot.
Really? My kitchen is so, I can never declutter my kitchen because I spend too much time cooking, and I like every single item in there, in the space that it's in. I can't imagine. Like that's for whatever reason, my kitchen and dining room areas have always kind of matched my personality in a way that my bedroom and my office or my living spaces, not so much.
Right, yes. Well, because the kitchen is a place that a lot of people spend time in, it's a place that kind of tends to accumulate a bunch of bowls and too many cups and all those so many pots and pans for how many do you need for baking, all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the reasons why people can't get in there and really do the things that they want to do in a very easy and flowy fashion, because they have too much stuff in there. But so your bedroom, one of the first things that I want you to think about is the why. What is your reason for wanting to have the bedroom decluttered? As you so eloquently put, it's just a friend, John, just a friend. So
to hang out with.
To hang out with.
Because you take over the TV with the Xbox downstairs.
Right. And so that's another thing is how do you want to feel in this space? After you come up with your why, you really want to think about how do you want to feel in this space? And you have to make a definition for that. That is so uber important. If you just say that I want it to be cozy, then what does cozy mean? Because cozy can mean so many different things. Cozy can actually mean elegant to you, whereas cozy could actually mean like boho to me. You know what I mean? So you have to really define that, what that feels like to you, and how do you want to, when you walk into that space, how do you want to feel? How do you want that space to support you in feeling that way? So that's number two. Number one is, what is your reason for wanting to do this? How do you want to feel? And really take a look at your thoughts about how you feel about your bedroom right now. Not how you want to feel, but how you're feeling right now. And asking yourself, what are the thoughts that are driving you to feel this way? Again, do you want to feel this way? Do you want to think this way? And if the answer is no, and if the answer is yes, then there's nothing for you to do. But the answer is no, you really don't want to feel this way, and you don't really want to have these thoughts that are driving these feelings, then you can replace that. You always want to ask yourself in a way that is going to be a positive, because if you say, oh, I'm just overwhelmed and I don't like this bedroom this way, then your brain is going to work to give you the answers to that, which is, yeah, you're overwhelmed and you don't like it this way. So it's going to affirm what it is that you already think. But if you ask yourself in a positive way, what can I do to make my bedroom feel the way that I want to feel? Your brain is going to work so hard to give you those answers, but you have to be open. You can't say, well, I just don't know, or I'm confused. I'm kind of hardcore, Jennifer. Those are excuses. I don't know and I'm confused are excuses. I don't want to hear. You have to ask yourself in the positive so that your brain can come up with the answers for you. So that's what you're going to start with. And for a couple of days, you're just going to kind of feel those feelings and think those thoughts and work on that, because that's what's going to keep you motivated. Is when you start to get in there and you take those sections by sections, and a closet is not part of your room. Your bedroom is your bedroom. A closet is a totally separate space. And like we have a lot of times, we have master bathrooms. They are not part of our bedrooms. Our bedrooms are just our bedrooms. The closets and the bathrooms are separate spaces. The reason why is because we all know all the amount of clutter we have in our closets.
And the bathroom.
And the bathroom. So
And
those are
also,
separate spaces.
and also that goes towards your notion of baby steps.
Exactly.
It can be that increases the overwhelm
Exactly.
when you're bringing in additional spaces. And my
Yes.
closet has way too much stuff in it. So
And can you imagine taking all the stuff out of your closet and then having it in the middle of your bedroom? How overwhelming that's going to be when John says, I'm hungry, and you've got all this stuff all over, and then you go downstairs, you cook dinner, then you come back up to go to sleep, and you've got this whole mess everywhere. That's why I never recommend that you do that. It's always baby steps. Start with a corner. Be compassionate with yourself and pat yourself on the back when you've got just even that little bit done, because what you're doing is building a routine. Easy is not a thing. Easy is something that you have to create. And all it is routines. It's consistent action taken over and over and over again. And that's why baby stepping is the best way for you. Because when you're done with that room, you're building your mind muscle, you're building your physical muscle to continue going. And it is a routine for you. And it's just like, oh, this is easy for me to do because you've built that.
Well, Aja, I have loved talking with you today. Give us just a brief recap of the top 5 things we should do as we start to declutter.
Most definitely. The first thing that you all should do is to pick one space. One space. And remember that if it's a bedroom, then a closet is not part of that space. And then you are going to think about how you want to feel in that space. It's so important for you to do that. Do not skip that step. We tend to just want to go head forward in the physical part of it, but you're never going to be able to maintain that space. It's going to be right back to the chaos if you're not retraining your brain. So how do you want to feel in that space? Write it down if you need to. Come up with definitions for those words. And then, just for a few days, sit with those feelings. And when you start to think about the overwhelming feelings that you're having, the negative thoughts, then ask yourself, what thoughts am I having that are making me feel this way? And if you don't want to sit with those thoughts, then think of what kind of thoughts can I have to change those feelings. So number 1 is pick a space. Number 2 is decide how you want to feel. Number 3 is become aware of the feelings that you're feeling and the thoughts that are driving those feelings. And number 4 is to retrain your brain into thinking about how you really want to feel. If those bad thoughts aren't the ones you want to feel, how you really want to feel and what thoughts need to drive those actions. And then baby step. Start little by little. Left corner to top to bottom, and work your way. baby step, baby step, baby step.
Those are fantastic tips and things that I need to do in my own life to declutter my office, my home, and get myself on track for a better life as well. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to let us into your space and speak to us today about this issue. I've been following you on Facebook for quite some time, and yay! And you know, I've been following you and been very excited about the opportunity to speak with you more in depth about these issues. So you can find Aja at the OCDstrategy.com on Facebook. There's a Facebook group there. She's on Facebook. Are there any other ways that they can find you, Aja?
No, those are the best things. The OCD Strategy community on Facebook, that's the group. And then my website is the OCDstrategy.com.
So if you want to meet with her or find some of her tips or see some of her videos that discuss this in more depth, go check her out. She's amazing. I also want to give a shout out to our producer today, Bernard Jones, who's just done a spectacular job with his fine self, and I see him right now. He's blushing, and that's the reason why I gave him a shout out on the air.
And he is amazing, y'all.
He is amazing. So thank you guys so much for talking it through with Jennifer. See you next time.